What I'm about to say isn't fair, but it's true. Yesterday, I saw you. Not literally, but close enough. Someone who once had fire in their eyes, ambition in their voice, plans bigger than the room they stood in, and now drained, defeated. And when I asked what happened, the answer was always the same. I played by the rules. I was good. I worked hard. That's the sound of someone who never learned the truth. The world doesn't break bad people. It breaks good people. The ones who think fairness exists. The ones who believe hard work guarantees success. The ones who trust that kindness will be returned. These are the people the world chews up and spits out without a second thought. And right now, you're standing at a crossroads. On one side is the path you've been walking, the path of hoping, waiting, trusting that if you just keep being good, eventually people will see your worth. On the other side is the path of ruthlessness, not cruelty, but calculated strength. The ability to protect yourself in a world designed to exploit you. Today, I'm going to show you exactly why the world will break you unless you become ruthless, and more importantly, how to make that transformation before it's too late. Machiavelli once wrote, "The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps and a lion to frighten wolves." What he meant is simple. Strength alone won't save you. Intelligence alone won't protect you. You need both. You need to be smart enough to see danger coming and strong enough to make people think twice before they come for you. There are 8 brutal truths about this world that separate those who survive from those who get destroyed. Each truth will challenge everything you've been taught. Each one will demand you let go of comforting lies. But if you stay until the end, you'll understand exactly why being good isn't enough and what you need to become instead. And before we begin, I need you to commit to this transformation right now. Drop this in the comments. The world will not break me. Number 1, goodness is a liability without power. Here's the first truth that nobody wants to tell you. Being a good person makes you a target. Not because goodness is wrong, but because predators can smell it from a mile away. They see your kindness and they think weakness. They see your honesty and they think naive. They see your willingness to help and they think exploitable. You've spent your whole life being told that good people win in the end, that karma will handle the bad guys, that if you just keep your head down and do the right thing, eventually you'll be rewarded. But look around. Look at the people who actually have power, influence, and control in this world. Did they get there by being nice? By waiting their turn? By playing fair? The answer makes you uncomfortable because deep down, you already know it. The world is not run by the kindest people. It's run by the most strategic. Machiavelli once said, "He who neglects what is done for what ought to be done sooner affects his ruin than his preservation." What this means is brutal but true. If you focus on how the world should work instead of how it actually works, you will be destroyed. The world doesn't care about your moral superiority. It doesn't reward you for being right. It only responds to power. Think about your own life right now. How many times have you done the right thing and watched someone who cut corners get ahead of you? How many times have you been honest while liars prospered? How many times have you helped people who never once returned the favor? That's not bad luck. That's the natural consequence of having goodness without power to protect it. Your kindness becomes a currency that others spend while you go bankrupt. Your honesty becomes information that manipulators use against you. Your helpfulness becomes a service that people demand without gratitude. This is why Machiavelli understood that goodness must be paired with strength. A good person with no power is a victim waiting to happen. But a good person with strategic ruthlessness, that's someone who could actually change the world because they can't be stopped, manipulated, or destroyed. The transformation starts when you realize that being good doesn't mean being harmless. Lions are noble creatures, but they have teeth. Eagles soar beautifully, but they have talons. Even nature understands that virtue without the ability to defend itself is extinction waiting to happen. You must build power, not to hurt people, but to ensure people can't hurt you. Not to manipulate others, but to prevent others from manipulating you. Not to become evil, but to stop being an easy victim for those who are. This means developing skills that make you indispensable, building resources that give you independence, creating boundaries that make exploitation impossible, and most importantly, cultivating a reputation that makes people understand there are consequences for crossing you. Goodness protected by power is virtue. Goodness without power is just weakness wearing a mask. Now, I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. I protect my goodness with strength. Number 2, trust is a weapon others use against you. The second truth is even harder to accept. Every time you trust someone, you give them a loaded gun pointed at your head. Most of the time, they don't pull the trigger, but the gun is always there. And eventually, when it serves their interests, they will use it. You've been programmed to believe trust is beautiful, that it's the foundation of all relationships, that without trust, you can't have real connections. But this programming makes you vulnerable, because while you're busy trusting people, they're busy calculating whether you're more valuable as an ally or as a stepping stone. Machiavelli once said, "Men are so simple and so subject to present necessities that he who seeks to deceive will always find someone who will allow himself to be deceived." This isn't cynicism, this is observation. People will betray you not because they're evil, but because humans are fundamentally self-interested. When the pressure is high enough, when the stakes matter enough, most people will choose themselves over you, every single time. Think about the betrayals you've already experienced. That friend who spread your secrets, that partner who cheated, that colleague who took credit for your work, that family member who sided against you when it mattered. In every case, you trusted them. You gave them information, access, vulnerability, and they used it when it benefited them. The pattern is always the same. You trust. They gather intelligence. They wait. And then, when the moment is right for them, they strike. Your trust becomes the weapon they use to wound you. So what's the solution? Never trust anyone? No, that's not ruthlessness. That's paranoia. The Machiavellian approach is different. Trust strategically. Give people small tests before you give them big trust. Watch what they do when there's nothing in it for them. Observe how they treat people who can't benefit them. Study whether they keep their word when it's inconvenient. Real ruthlessness means understanding that trust must be earned through patterns, not given freely because of feelings. It means dividing your life into circles. The outer circle knows almost nothing. The middle circle knows some things. The inner circle knows important things. But even the inner circle, even they don't know everything. You keep the most sensitive information, the deepest vulnerabilities, the critical weaknesses to yourself. Always. Because the moment someone knows how to break you, you've given them the power to do it. And people you love, people you've helped, people who smile in your face will absolutely break you if breaking you serves their survival or advancement. This doesn't make you cold. It makes you conscious. You can still have relationships. You can still care about people. But you do it with your eyes open. You do it understanding that trust is a calculated risk, not a romantic gesture. Machiavelli wrote, "Since it is difficult to join them together, it is safer to be feared than loved when one of the two must be lacking." What he understood is that fear prevents betrayal better than love ever could. Because people who fear consequences think twice. People who only have love, they'll convince themselves they had no choice when they stab you in the back. Build your power so that betraying you comes with a cost. Make it clear, not through threats, but through demonstrated consequences, that crossing you is a bad strategic move. When people know that betraying you means losing access, resources, or opportunities they value, trust becomes less necessary. Their self-interest protects you better than their affection ever could. Drop this affirmation in the comments. My trust is earned, not given. Number 3, emotions are hooks that others use to control you. Your emotions are not your friends. They're levers that skilled manipulators pull to make you dance like a puppet. Every time you react emotionally, you show people exactly which buttons to push. And once they know your buttons, you're no longer in control of your own life. The world is full of people who have mastered emotional manipulation. They know if they can make you angry, they can make you stupid. If they can make you guilty, they can make you compliant. If they can make you afraid, they can make you freeze. Your emotions become their remote control. Machiavelli once said, "The wise man does at once what the fool does finally." The fool reacts emotionally to every provocation. The wise man trains himself to respond strategically, using logic even when his emotions are screaming. This is the difference between being controlled and being in control. Think about the last time someone made you angry. What did you do? You probably said something you regret, made a decision based on rage instead of reason, gave them exactly the reaction they wanted. That's how manipulation works. They push the button, you react, they win. The same thing happens with guilt. Someone makes you feel bad for protecting yourself, for saying no, for having boundaries. And because you hate that guilty feeling, you give in. You sacrifice your needs to make the guilt stop. They've trained you like a dog, and you don't even realize it. Fear is even more powerful. When you're afraid of losing someone, they can make you accept terrible treatment. When you're afraid of being alone, they can make you tolerate disrespect. When you're afraid of conflict, they can violate your boundaries repeatedly. Your fear becomes their power. The ruthless understand something critical. Emotions are information, not instructions. You can feel angry without acting angry. You can feel guilty without giving in to guilt. You can feel afraid without being controlled by fear. This is emotional mastery, the ability to experience the emotion, process what it's telling you, and then choose your response based on strategy, not feeling. Machiavelli believed that a ruler must be like a great actor, showing the emotions that serve his purposes while keeping his real feelings hidden. You must learn to do the same. When someone tries to make you angry, stay calm and watch them lose composure instead. When someone tries to guilt you, maintain your boundary and let them sit with their manipulation attempt. When someone tries to scare you, show them that fear doesn't move you. This completely disrupts their strategy. Manipulators rely on your emotional predictability. When you become emotionally disciplined, you become unpredictable. And unpredictability is power. Here's the practice. Every time you feel a strong emotion, pause. Take 3 deep breaths. Ask yourself, if I respond from this emotion, who benefits? If the answer is someone else, don't respond yet. Wait until you can respond from logic and strategy instead of feeling. This doesn't mean becoming emotionless. It means refusing to be controlled by emotions. You still feel. You just don't let those feelings make your decisions for you. The moment you master this, people lose their primary weapon against you. They can still try to push your buttons, but the buttons don't work anymore. That's when you become truly dangerous, because a person who can't be emotionally manipulated can't be controlled. Drop this affirmation in the comments. My emotions inform me, they don't control me. Number 4, suffering is preparation, not punishment. Here's a truth that will change how you see every hardship in your life. The world isn't breaking you to destroy you. It's breaking you to rebuild you into something stronger. But most people don't understand this. They experience pain and they think they're being punished. They face betrayal and they think they're unlucky. They encounter obstacles and they think the universe is against them. So they quit. They give up. They let the breaking become permanent instead of temporary. Machiavelli once said, "Never waste the opportunity offered by a good crisis." What he meant is that your worst moments contain your greatest lessons. Every betrayal teaches you who to trust. Every failure shows you what doesn't work. Every loss reveals what you were holding onto too tightly. The ruthless don't run from suffering. They study it. They ask, what is this teaching me? What weakness is this exposing? How can I use this pain to become someone who never experiences this particular pain again? This is the transformation from victim to strategist. Victims ask, why is this happening to me? Warriors ask, what is this preparing me for? The difference in those questions determines whether suffering destroys you or forges you. Think about the hardest thing you've ever been through. In that moment, it felt unbearable. You probably thought you wouldn't survive it, but you did. And now, looking back, can you see how it changed you? How it taught you things you couldn't have learned any other way? That's the pattern. Suffering that doesn't kill you gives you capabilities you didn't have before. Emotional resilience, strategic thinking, the ability to spot danger earlier, the wisdom to protect yourself better. Every scar becomes a lesson. Every wound becomes wisdom. But here's the critical part. This only works if you're ruthless about extracting the lesson. If you just suffer and then move on without learning, you'll repeat the same patterns. You'll trust the same type of people, make the same mistakes, experience the same pain over and over. The world will keep breaking you in the same way until you learn what it's trying to teach you. Machiavelli believed that wise rulers learn from the mistakes of others, but most people won't even learn from their own mistakes. Don't be most people. After every hardship, sit down and analyze it. What didn't I see coming? What boundaries did I fail to set? What red flags did I ignore? What skills do I need to develop so this can't happen again? This turns suffering into strategic advantage. You become harder to hurt because you've studied how you were hurt before. You become harder to manipulate because you recognize the patterns. You become harder to break because you've already been broken and you know how to rebuild. The most powerful people aren't the ones who never suffered. They're the ones who suffered intelligently, who took every beating and became better instead of bitter, who used pain as a university instead of a prison. Your suffering is not random. It's customized curriculum designed to turn you into someone capable of handling what's coming next. But you have to be ruthless enough to do the homework. Drop this affirmation in the comments. My suffering sharpens me. Number 5, Fairness is a children's story. Let me destroy one of the most dangerous illusions you still believe. Fairness does not exist. It never has. It never will. The sooner you accept this, the sooner you stop being a victim of it. You were taught that if you work hard, you'll succeed. That if you're honest, you'll be trusted. That if you're kind, you'll be treated kindly in return. These are beautiful lies told to children to keep them obedient. The truth is uglier, but more useful. Hard workers get exploited by people who work smarter. Honest people get taken advantage of by skilled liars. Kind people get drained by those who mistake kindness for weakness. The game is not fair, and the people winning the game understand this completely. Machiavelli once said, "How one lives is so far distant from how one ought to live, that he who neglects what is done for what ought to be done sooner effects his ruin than his preservation." Stop focusing on how things should be. Start mastering how things are. In the real world, the person who controls the narrative wins, not the person who has the truth. The person who networks strategically advances, not the person with the most talent. The person who understands power dynamics succeeds, not the person with the purest intentions. This isn't fair. It's reality, and reality doesn't care about your feelings. Think about every time you've been passed over for someone less qualified. Every time you've been blamed for something you didn't do. Every time you've been ignored despite being right. In every case, fairness lost to strategy. Someone who understood the game better than you won, even though they didn't deserve it. You have two choices. You can keep complaining about how unfair it is, or you can learn the rules of the actual game being played. The ruthless choose the second option. They stop playing the game they wish existed and start dominating the game that does exist. This doesn't mean becoming evil. It means becoming effective. It means understanding that good intentions without strategic execution is just noble failure. That being right without being influential is just being ignored. That having talent without knowing how to position it is just wasted potential. Machiavelli wrote that the world should be taken as it is, not as it ought to be. The people who win are not the most deserving, they're the most strategic. They understand that perception matters more than reality, that relationships matter more than ability, that timing matters more than quality. You want to succeed in an unfair world? Stop expecting fairness. Start expecting opposition. Assume people will lie. Assume credit will be stolen. Assume your goodness will be exploited. Then build your strategy around these assumptions. Protect your ideas until they're already successful. Document your work so credit can't be stolen. Set boundaries so goodness can't be exploited. Position yourself strategically so talent can't be ignored. This is ruthless realism, not hoping for a fair world, but dominating the unfair one you actually live in. The moment you stop waiting for fairness, you start creating your own advantages. And advantages, not fairness, are what win in the real world. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I master reality, not fantasy. Number 6. Power is the only protection. Everything else you've been told about staying safe is a lie. Your education won't protect you. Your good character won't protect you. Your hard work won't protect you. The only thing that protects you in this world is power. Machiavelli once said, "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." He understood that love is conditional and temporary, but fear of consequences, that's universal and permanent. People who love you will still betray you when it serves them, but people who fear the cost of betraying you, they'll think twice. This is why power is not optional. It's essential for survival. Power means resources they can't take from you, skills they can't replace, relationships that give you leverage, reputation that makes attacking you costly, information that keeps you valuable, options that make you uncontrollable. When you have power, people treat you differently. Not because you're a better person, but because harming you has consequences. They can't fire you because you're too valuable. They can't betray you because you know too much. They can't ignore you because you control something they need. This is protection, not hoping people will be good, but making it strategically stupid for them to be bad to you. Think about the powerless people in your life. How are they treated? With respect? No. They're treated as disposable, because they are. They have nothing that makes harming them costly, no resources to withdraw, no relationships to activate, no reputation to defend. They're victims waiting for the inevitable. Now think about powerful people. How carefully others speak around them, how quickly their calls get returned, how rarely they're openly disrespected. That's not because they're better people. It's because they've built the kind of power that makes disrespect expensive. Machiavelli believed that a wise prince relies on what is in his own power, not what is in the power of others. Your security cannot depend on other people's goodness. It must depend on your own strength. So how do you build this power? You develop skills that make you irreplaceable at work. You create multiple income streams so losing one doesn't break you. You build relationships with influential people who can open doors. You accumulate knowledge that others need. You establish boundaries that others learn to respect. You build a reputation for following through on consequences. Every piece of power you build is armor against a world that will absolutely exploit weakness. This isn't about becoming a tyrant. It's about becoming someone who can't be tyrannized, someone who has enough power that they don't have to use it. Because the visible capability of defending yourself is often enough to prevent attack. A castle with walls doesn't have to prove it can withstand a siege. The walls themselves make sieges less likely. Your power works the same way. Build it visibly enough that people know it's there, and you'll rarely have to actually deploy it. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I build unshakable power. Number 7, reputation is your invisible army. You can be the most skilled person in the room and still lose to someone with a better reputation. You can have the truth on your side and still be destroyed by someone who controls the narrative. Because in the real world, perception is not just reality, it's more than reality. Machiavelli once said, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are." What this means is brutal but true. How people think about you matters infinitely more than who you actually are. Your reputation walks into rooms before you do. It influences decisions about you when you're not there. It determines what opportunities come your way and which enemies think twice about attacking you. The ruthless understand that reputation is not about truth. It's about strategy. You don't just let reputation happen. You craft it. You decide what story people tell about you. You control what examples they remember. You shape how your name sounds in conversations you're not part of. This means being intentional about everything. How you show up, what you say, who you associate with, what wins you publicize, what failures you keep private, what strengths you demonstrate, what weaknesses you never reveal. Every interaction is a brushstroke in the painting people create of you in their minds. The weak let other people paint that picture. The strong paint it themselves. Think about people with terrible reputations. How hard is it for them to recover, even if they've changed? Almost impossible, because reputation is sticky. Once people believe something about you, confirming that belief is easy, and changing it is nearly impossible. This is why protecting your reputation is more important than almost anything else. One scandal can destroy decades of work. One public mistake can override 100 private successes. One perception of weakness can make people test you forever. Machiavelli believed that appearing virtuous is more important than being virtuous, because appearances influence behavior, and behavior creates results. If people believe you're powerful, they treat you as powerful, which makes you more powerful through their treatment. But here's the advanced play. Your reputation should have calculated mystery. You don't want people to completely understand you. You want them to think you're more capable than you might be, more connected than they can confirm, more willing to act than they can predict. Uncertainty makes people cautious. When they don't know the limits of your capability, they assume the limits are higher than they actually are. That assumption protects you. Control the story, manage the perception, make your wins visible and your struggles private. Let people believe you're stronger, smarter, and more dangerous than you need to prove, because reputation is the force multiplier that makes everything else you do more effective. A person with a reputation for following through gets believed the first time. A person with a reputation for power gets respect without demanding it. A person with a reputation for consequences gets tested less frequently. Build your reputation like you'd build a fortress, carefully, strategically, with the understanding that it's your first and best defense. Drop this affirmation in the comments. My reputation is my shield. Number 8, you become ruthless or you become prey. We've reached the final truth, and it's the one that determines everything else. In this world, there are only two types of people: those who understand power and use it, and those who don't understand power and get used by it. You're standing at the crossroads between these two categories right now, and the choice you make in this moment will determine the trajectory of the rest of your life. Machiavelli once wrote, "Since men cannot be made secure from evil except by power, one must either be among the governed or among the governing." What he meant is simple. You will either control your circumstances or be controlled by them. You will either set the terms or accept the terms others set for you. There is no neutral ground. The world doesn't allow neutrality. Refusing to play the game of power doesn't mean you're not in the game. It just means you're losing it. Every day, you're either building power or losing it, gaining position or surrendering it, becoming more capable of protecting yourself or more vulnerable to those who would exploit you. This isn't a choice you make once. It's a choice you make every single day through every single decision. Do you set that boundary or let it slide? Do you call out that lie or stay silent? Do you develop that skill or stay comfortable? Each choice is a vote for ruthless strength or comfortable weakness. And the ruthless understand that comfortable weakness is just slow motion destruction. Think about where you'll be in 5 years if you keep making the choices you're making now. Will you be more powerful or more powerless? More respected or more used? More protected or more vulnerable? The trajectory is always clear if you're honest with yourself. Becoming ruthless doesn't mean becoming cruel. It means becoming conscious, aware of the game, skilled at the strategy, willing to do what's necessary to protect yourself and achieve your goals. It means saying no without guilt, setting boundaries without apology, cutting off access without explanation, building power without asking permission, using consequences without hesitation. This is how you survive in a world designed to break you, not by being good and hoping goodness is enough, but by being good and being strong enough to protect that goodness from those who would destroy it. Machiavelli said, "The end justifies the means." What he really meant is that your good intentions mean nothing if you don't have the power to make them reality. Being kind but powerless just means you'll be destroyed by people who are cruel and powerful. You must become kind and powerful, strategic and strong, good-hearted and ruthless in protecting that heart. The world needs more people like this, people who have values but also have the spine to defend those values, people who want to help others but are smart enough not to be exploited, people who are good but impossible to break. That's the final evolution. Not choosing between goodness and ruthlessness, but integrating both. Being the person who helps those who deserve it and destroys those who threaten it, who builds with one hand and protects with the other. This is true power, not just strength, but strength deployed in service of something meaningful. Not just ruthlessness, but ruthlessness that protects what's worth protecting. You've learned the 8 truths. You understand why the world breaks good people and how to become someone it can't break. Now comes the hardest part, actually implementing these truths in your daily life, actually becoming the ruthless version of yourself that the world demands you become. This transformation won't be easy. You'll lose people who benefited from your weakness. You'll be called cold by those who miss exploiting your warmth. You'll be misunderstood by people who liked you better when you were easier to control. Let them go. Let them talk. Let them misunderstand. Because on the other side of this transformation is a version of you that the world cannot bend, cannot break, cannot stop. Machiavelli once said, "The wise man does at once what the fool does finally." The fool spends years being broken before finally getting ruthless. The wise person makes the choice right now, today, before the world has time to break them again. You are that wise person. You've watched this entire video. You've heard the truths. You understand what needs to change. Now stop understanding and start becoming. Build your power daily. Protect your reputation fiercely. Control your emotions strategically. Extract lessons from suffering. Reject fairness as a guiding principle. Make trust earned instead of given. Defend your goodness with strength. And most importantly, choose ruthlessness before the world forces it on you through pain. If this message resonated with you, hit that like button. Share this video with someone who needs to hear these truths. Subscribe to the channel for more strategies that make you unbreakable. And drop this final affirmation in the comments. I choose ruthless strength over comfortable weakness. The world is watching. It's waiting to see if you'll stay the same or if you'll transform into someone it can't destroy. Make your choice, because whether you choose change or comfort, the world will keep testing you. The only question is whether those tests break you or forge you into something unbreakable. You now have the knowledge. You now have the framework. All that remains is the decision. Will you become ruthless or will you become prey? The answer to that question will determine everything that happens next. Choose wisely. Choose quickly. Choose ruthlessly. This is your moment. Take it.